I am so excited to get some American grown tea. I had to show you how it came. I was a bit surprised. I only ordered one because I wanted the first flush from Charleston. But it was in this box. This box was in this box. And it just seemed to me like I paid a lot of postage. I would have rather have only paid for one box. I'm sure my tea tin would have been fine, but I'm so excited to get to try this tea. South Carolina grown. Woohoo! Limited edition. So here we go. American Classic Tea, first flush, first harvest of the season, certified South Carolina grown. It's black tea. We're getting ready to open the can and sniff it. You see, this is a part of the Bigelow family, and that is a common brand on the shelves of our grocery stores. I'm not quite sure what Best Buy 523 means. There you have it. The can first opened, full to the brim. I always do the 5 ounces, and this is CTC, cut, tear, curl, and I'm afraid to do 5 ounces because 3 seems like so much already. Because if I would put this in a tea bag or a tea ball, this amount wouldn't even fit. And I know I'm using the Gaiwan method. I shouldn't be afraid of more tea, but I'm going to go with my gut instinct and do the 3 ounces instead of 5. Okay, so after a very short steep, maybe 20 seconds, there's what the leaves look like. And here's the color of the liqueur. It's kind of got a red to it. I decided we can always add more tea, but we can't take away tea after we start steeping. And there's the color in my cup. I keep standards for all my videos, so we share them all the same way.
Well, kids, we're having tea in the Outback because we're out back now.
It's May 29th.
Look at that man tea handle there. I can barely get my tiny little fingers in there. That man can hold that.
It is so cold. It was 52 degrees this morning. I think it's 54 now, and it's afternoon. And I just want to have tea in the garden, and it's so cold for this time of year.
Yeah.
So
all the flowers were at the back door a while ago
look here.
wanting to come in where it's warm.
We said we're gonna go and be in the garden and put a cover on, because I'm not gonna let anything stop me
Yeah,
from
we said that, boys and girls. We said that. That's right.
being happy.
There you go. Be happy. None of them say be naked. I mean,
What did you say about first flush?
I too will be doing a first flush.
You keep drinking more tea.
I'll be rushing the flush, by the way. You keep drinking the tea.
We changed cups, so we have some fun cups. And here's the garden, and see, everybody should be out in a garden like this drinking tea, even if it's only 52 degrees.
Just don't do it in your neighbor's yard without permission.
You can come into my garden. You're welcome.
You can come through the video.
Here's your virtual tea with us.
I want the real tea.
An American garden. So, yeah, here we are amongst the flowers. Here's a whole lot of little stuff in the bottom of my cup that I couldn't see in the tasting cup.
Regret.
I did add a little bit more tea. I've steeped it quite a few times. You see this behind us? We call it our foo-foo tree. Say that again.
Oh yeah. I'm drinking all this tea, so we have to wait like an hour before we get in our car to drive, because then if we get pulled over, we will be DUIT, drinking under the influence of tea. And they'll ask me, how much tea have you had, sir? And I'll say, oh, about 3 or 4. And then, handcuff clicks, off to the big house, boy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, oh man, or is it the smokehouse? Either way, I'm gonna get burned, so it's not gonna be good, huh? So I'm gonna have to start chilling down on this stuff right here, right now.
I think he's had too much caffeine.
I'm tea-faced, kids. I will admit it.
Tea-faced?
Tea-faced, yeah. Three teas to the wind. Oh man, I'm tempted to run out in the yard now and do a natural. But it's good. This is good tea, actually. Seriously, I would drink this all day.
Is the way men
You cannot get your. There's no way.
This is the way a husband holds his teacup.
What princess made this cup?
Because only husbands would have tea in the garden with their wives.
At least it's blue. I don't guess I can get a camel teacup or anything, can I?
I did give you the blue one.
I appreciate that very much, yeah. So, yeah. Here, boys, come and get it.
So hubby said, you just keep pouring more and more tea. I said, well, that's what tea's all about. It's supposed to bring people together for conversation. And he said,
yeah, in the outhouse. Fancy meeting you here.
It brings
Shall
people
I wait?
together in the
let's come out here and
outhouse.
talk about it while we're here. It's a two-holder. Where's my magazine? Popular Mechanics or whatever the one is.
Oh my
Car craft,
goodness.
maybe.
We're see?
Yeah.
Be happy.
Be happy. Be floaty. Keep drinking. Floaty like a boaty. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever floats the boat makes the wagon train.
You drink this tea, this is what happens to you.
Tea drunk. Officer, I'm innocent of most everything that I can remember. I can't remember anything right now, but get back to me later.
Goosebumples? It is cold out here.
Yeah,
His blanket is not helping me too much. Here are my tasting notes for this Charleston Tea 2021 First Flush. And here's their website. Now, they are a subsidiary of Bigelow Tea, which kind of actually turns me off because as a pure leaf fanatic, Bigelow tea often is very small pieces in bags with flavoring, and you can find it in the grocery stores. And most of the stuff in the grocery stores are not my thing anymore. And so that name maybe at first helped this garden get better, but I think for the purist tea leaf people, it might be bringing it down. Just my opinion. Maybe this will help change the impression we have of Bigelow tea and work in the adverse. May 29th was when I did my first tasting. The first flush happens in April or May each year. And it's black tea, and this is off of their website. So it says tea harvester at work in the tea fields. So I have a picture in my head often of China and Japan promoting their workers in the field, hand plucking just the first and maybe the second leaf for the first flushes. And here we have a machine. And I know the technology for machines has grown and gotten a lot better over the years. So maybe this is some fabulous, fantastic machine that can only get those first buds and leaves, or maybe it's just the first flush, the first take of leaves. Here is the address for the Charleston Tea Garden, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited when I can drink teas that are American grown because I might actually be able to travel there someday, and maybe I will. They are in South Carolina. They are in Guatemala Island, which is not really an island, it's just the name of that city, but it is really close to the Atlantic Ocean. So if you want to take a vacation to the ocean and stop by a tea garden, I do, maybe someday. Um, there are a lot of things on the coast over there that I'd like to see for the Revolutionary War. I could put together a really great vacation time. So I wondered if the Atlantic Ocean might take on the tea might take on the aroma of ocean breezes. I was kind of hopeful for that because we know in that's a thing when we talk about locations of tea, how the environment affects the tea. There is a close-up of the Charleston Tea Garden, and you see the rows of tea, and it would just be fun to go there. I'm not sure how it's processed. Obviously, it's black tea, so it's fully oxidized. They do show on their website how they give tours of how things are processed, so that would be fun to do. There's also a trolley that goes to the fields, and the greenhouse can be visited. It just really seems like something fun to do because I can't really go travel across the pond, as they say, across the ocean. I can't afford that, but this is a possibility. The tea did go right through the strainer. Oh, and that was the one thing I did not like about this tea. So I wonder how to brew it except in a tea bag. It does seem to be cut, or maybe CTC, which is called cut, tear, curl, but it does seem to be cut so small. It's processed more like the tea for tea bags. And so that goes along with the Bigelow way of doing things for tea bags for in the stores. The website shows how it's processed with machinery, so there's no hand rolling here. Here's from the website. I did find this a little bit interesting about the actual bushes. So the Camellia sinensis bushes were brought to America in the late 1700s. That is really early on, folks. We're talking Revolutionary War time period. I have traced my ancestors back that far to the 1790s and before, but that kind of brings a little focus to it. So they were brought here that long ago from China, and several attempts were made over the next 150 years to propagate and produce tea, but not any were successful. Not until 1888, when Dr. Charles Shepherd founded the Pinehurst Tea Plantation in Summerville, South Carolina. And he did grow award-winning tea until his death in 1915. And after he passed away, his tea bushes just grew wild for the next 45 years. Oh, I feel so sad for those wild tea bushes. But in 1963, a 127-acre potato farm located where this plantation is, this Charleston plantation today, and they transplanted all of these shepherd tea plants. And the next 24 years of research was conducted on the experimental farm. So this has been a long journey for these tea bushes. And they're actually getting quite old. I wonder how deep their roots go after all that time growing wild. In 1987, William Barclay Hall purchased the land, and you can read about him, pause the video, or go to their website. He founded the Charleston Tea Garden. And in 2003, he was struggling, and so he reached out to longtime friends with the Bigelow family, and a partnership was formed, and the Bigelow name helped to bring this tea to us today. So I'm so glad that they are making it. There's a photo of Bill and his wife and Mr. William Barclay Hall of the Bigelow Tea Company. So that's super cool. I'm so glad. I really want our American businesses of tea to do well. On June 9th, 2020, the name of the tea changed from Charleston Tea Plantation to Charleston Tea Garden. Well, heck, I like garden. Plantation seems very 1700s. Garden seems very, let's go relax there. So, I put this as mahogany. As you could see in the video, it was kind of dark with a red tint. Aroma. Now, this is where it got me. I mean, it didn't smell like the classic malty black tea. I had never smelt any tea like this, so I was kind of excited. The first impression was earthy. Smelled like dirt, I thought. But then after a lot of smelling and long thinking and discussions with my husband, we came to the conclusion that it was decaying wet hay. And I said, yes, just like a hay bale was left out into too many storms. So think about maybe hay bales put up on a autumn fall hayride, and they just aren't nice and clean, and they are left out on the trailer, and they begin just slightly decaying and getting wet. That is the smell we decided it was like most. I know that doesn't sound good, but I love outdoor stuff and I love those smells, as strangely as it sounds. So it's really weird that I'm identifying it with a autumn scent or aroma, but yet it's first flush from the spring. So I did say savory too, and I'm going to hold to that a little bit because I asked Debbie, I said, have you been making breakfast? Is it interfering with my aroma? And he was like, no, I'm not made breakfast. I've not done anything to make any smells in this house. And then I decided it was savory. So definitely something savory about it because I continued to smell that. Very interesting aroma and unique from other teas I've been having recently. Hubby said his first impression was coffee. Ha! No, he sometimes has struggles with his nose. And then he suggested tobacco. Now, tobacco would be in the earthy category, so I might go with that. Not coffee. No, it wasn't coffee at all. Coffee sometimes I relate with roasted smell. Wasn't roasted smell. Um, I debated between medium and full, and I went with medium on the body. The astringency. Now, y'all know, if you've been watching any of my videos, you all know that I do not like astringent tea. And I either have to be in category 1 or 2, and this is in category 1, smooth, low. I loved it. If you are looking for a tea that's easy to drink, you've got the right one here. So, taste. I had to laugh at my husband. He says it tastes like a rotting log, not like he's ever licked one. I was laughing at him. This is going back to where we determined the wet hay. Because I had said decaying hay before that, and so it made him think he was smelling a rotting log. I'm pleasantly surprised. It does have its own unique taste. It's not a classic tea taste, as the container says classic American. Well, it would be classic American, not classic tea, because it's definitely got its own tea taste. And it does taste similar to the aroma. That's a sign of a high quality tea to me. I did get the earthy, but also the savory, and I maybe got a sweet fruit, and I decided maybe a fig. So that's where I was at with that. It's very complex, but not with layers. Now, I was drinking another tea last weekend, and the first two steeps, it had one kind of taste, and then steeps after that, it had another kind of taste. And that's what I think of when I think of layers of complexity. So it's not got layers because it stays consistent in taste, but it is rather complex in that it's difficult to put to words to identify that experience. Now, it does not have ocean taste or aroma, as I was so hopeful. I mean, maybe you'll get it, but it probably influences it somehow. The finish was juicy and mouth-watering. The aroma continues for a short time, airy, like after the juicy disappears. I don't know. I am recording this some days after, and that's what I wrote down. I always write my thoughts. So, rating, I gave it 4 hearts. I loved it. I would buy it again. It's very easy to drink. It would make a great iced tea. You can drink it without sugar or milk, which is always a plus for me. That's always what I'm looking for, so that I can drink it and it be healthier. Remember that I only steeped it about 20 seconds the first time though, but many steeps in, I did steep it for longer and it never got bitter. So the reason it does not get 5 hearts, if they would just change this, I would give it 5 hearts because I wish the pieces were not so small. I'm not really fond of all the speckles at the bottom of my glass. It's hard to brew it in a gaiwan. That's why it only gets 4 hearts. Any tea that tastes good and can be drank without sugar or milk and is grown in America, I would keep on hand. I would want to share it with any company we have with pride in our country. And there you have it, folks.